Hi, my name's Doug Imbo. I'm the president of Lewis Winch. In front of me here we have a brand spanking new Lewis Winch 400 MK2, which pulls 8,000 pounds. And we have the smallest of our solo chainsaws, which is a 4.4 horsepower. So I'm going to open up the packages and show you what's inside of each box. Got to make sure that everything is in good shape and hasn't been damaged in shipment. The first thing we have is a nice thick instruction manual in several languages. Cute little screwdriver with a pocket clip. And our saw. Nice, light, 4.4 horsepower. We'll put that over here while we open up the Lewis Winch box. Again, making sure that nothing is damaged. Now the first thing we have is a bag with brake handle and an adapter kit. And we have the direct mount adapter kit. And of course, the Lewis Winch. Lewis Winch owner's manual. And 150 feet of 3/16 aircraft cable. Okay, now that we have the Lewis Winch and the saw out of the boxes, we'll see what we have in here. This is the brake and the brake handle assembly, which needs to be bolted on, so we'll do that in a minute. And here's our universal adapter kit, which consists of a little bar, bit of chain, and a sprocket. Now today, we know with this saw, we don't need to use the universal adapter kit. We're going to use the direct mount kit, and we'll assemble everything using that. The Lewis Winch has a brake drum on this side where the brake handle is going to go on, and a clutch assembly over on this side where you just turn, spins it out, and allows you to freewheel the drum. And underneath is the fair lead, which will flip up like that. And what we're going to have to do is, once we get the saw and everything mounted, we're going to spool up this 150 feet of cable onto this drum, which spools in through the fair lead. We have a roller on the front, a roller on each side, so it'll come in through here, in through the hole, and that'll all get wound up. Now, the first thing we have to do to prepare our Lewis Winch for mounting on our little saw is to mount the brake handle. Now, there's one bolt that's on the side of the brake handle that has to go into the casting like this. All you require is one Allen key. And make sure that it's backed off far enough that it's nice and tight up against the casting before you start to tighten it down. So all we do is tighten this down, and it doesn't have to be real tight, but the tighter you tighten it, the more friction you're going to have on your brake handle. Now that's about right. That's as tight as we need it. Now on the top, there's a little set screw, and that little set screw comes down on top of this bolt and makes sure that it doesn't vibrate loose. Now, everything you put on the Lewis Winch should have Loctite on it because the saw has a lot of vibration and it'll vibrate these screws loose. So a little bit of Loctite onto that set screw before you tighten it down. Snug it down nice and snug. You won't have to worry about that bolt coming loose. Now, the next thing we have to do, we know we're using the direct mount adapter kit today, and there's a little orange cup washer that's on the drive. Now, that orange cup washer isn't required and shouldn't be used when you use this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that off. Now, when you take parts off the Lewis Winch like this, although you're probably not going to need it with the saw you're using now, you may need it with another saw. So what we'll do is we'll take all our adapter kit parts out of this and out of this little plastic cup, and we'll replace that in there so that we'll have it for later. Now what we have to do is we have to assemble our adapter kit. So we know that the thick adapter is the one that's going to go onto the Lewis Winch, and we know one of the other three is for the solo saw. I already know the small one is the one that we're going to use on this little saw. So I can replace the rest of them back into this plastic cup in case we ever get another saw one day and we need them. Now to assemble the adapter, we just have two parts. The part that goes on the Lewis Winch has 3 recessed holes in it. So that's where the 3 socket head cap screws are going to go, and the heads are going to recess right into there. So we have to line up the 3 holes. There's only one way that it can go. So just keep turning it until you see light through all 3 holes, and then you know you've got it right. There we go. Now again, Loctite is necessary. A little bit of Loctite on every one of these screws, or they're going to back off, and your adapter is going to come apart at the worst possible time. So once these are all nice and snug down, we'll just give it a test fit, make sure that we've got the right adapter in the right spot for the Lewis winch. Here's one, nice and snug. This is really important that these bolts don't back off on you. If they come loose, they'll actually shear, and then you'll have to replace the bolts. There's a third one, nice and tight. Now that should just slide over. Now we've got our adapter prepared. We've got our brake handle in place. Okay, now we're ready to prepare our little solo saw. Now this little 4.4 horsepower solo saw, matched up with this Lewis winch, will pull about 2,500 pounds. We have two other models of saws. The largest one, when matched up to this, will pull 4,000 pounds straight line, or up to 8,000 pounds using one Lewis winch snatch block. So this 2,500 pounds straight line pull will actually pull 5,000 pounds using one Lewis winch snatch block.